You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here's your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am Glenn the Geek in Ocala, Florida.
And I'm Jamie Jennings in Norman, Oklahoma. You're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Friday, March 21st, episode 3652. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Kentucky Performance Products. Good morning, horse people.
It's Friday, and another weekend of riding is a few short hours away. Jamie and Glenn are here to help you make it through the day with some fun guests and some really bad ads. Enjoy the show.
Well, one of those fun guests is author Mark Shrager, author of The Greatest Racehorse, Man of War and the Judgment of History. He's going to take us through his research to write this book comparing Man of War to the top racehorses through time.
Plus, he's written a lot of really awesome books. I'm excited to talk to him.
Yeah, he's well known as a media person in the horse world for years and years and years. So I'm surprised we haven't talked to him before, to be honest. Plus, we have some really bad ads, and Jamie went on an adventure we're going to talk about. But first, I'm going to talk about something that Jamie never thought I would talk about. Jamie loves baseball. I hate baseball. I just think it's one of the most boring sports that ever existed. And I've said for years that they should find a way to make baseball fun. Well, back in 2017, I met this guy named Jesse Cole at Podfest. He was at Podfest. He was wearing this bright yellow suit with a bright yellow hat. And he had just bought the minor league baseball team in Savannah, Georgia. And he was a character. I mean, he just was so much fun. I mean, he spoke there. We had a good time with him. Chris, who runs Podfest, ended up going up to Savannah, and they did, for their first baby, they did the gender reveal on the mound during a game.
Oh my gosh. So obviously you're talking about the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, he had just changed it to the Savannah Bananas because he considered baseball kind of boring too. And let me tell you what just happened 2 nights ago. In Tampa, they went down to play one of their exhibition games, and we'll talk about more about what they do in a second. But they did one of their games. Well, they sold out in an hour for the baseball stadium. So what they did is they switched it to the Raymond James Football Stadium. They sold 65,000 tickets for a baseball game.
For a minor league baseball game.
Now, they are kind of the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. I kind of look at them that way. They're kind of that. But what they're doing for they're bringing people in the stands to watch baseball. Now, granted, it's a show. It's a performance. And if you don't have no idea what I'm talking about, just search for Savannah Bananas on YouTube. They do like dances, and they do I tried to get tickets, and we're from Oklahoma, and we were going to fly to Georgia to go see the Bananas, and I couldn't get tickets. They're sold out everywhere. And that's why they're moving up to football stadiums. They said it might be the large. I mean, World Series doesn't even sell that many tickets. Most baseball teams would pray to sell a quarter of that for a game.
So they do trick plays, and they do dances, and they play kind of jokes and stuff. And again, it's definitely, there are a lot, I'm sure, of grizzled old baseball men in the media room that are just cringing. But like you said, it is making baseball exciting and bringing it to new people,
Well, what Caitlin Clark has done for the WNBA, they are doing for baseball. The Savannah Bananas are doing for baseball. The WNBA fought Caitlin Clark. They just didn't want to admit that she was the one bringing people into the seats at women's basketball for the first time. And this year, they're finally admitting that. They're finally accepting it and endorsing it and embracing it because there was just nobody going to the women's basketball games. And now there's any place she goes, they fill the stadium. Same thing here. It's just bringing awareness and maybe a little bit of fun and excitement back to a sport that a lot of people obviously abandoned. I would go see a Savannah Bananas game, and I haven't been to a baseball game since we left in the 3rd inning in Chicago. So
Okay, so the Jesse Cole was the owner, and you met him at Podfest, and so I just was so last night they put 65,000 people in Tampa.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. How cool.
Yeah, so just good for him. I mean, he took marketing to a whole new level. And this guy wears a bright yellow banana-colored suit everywhere he goes with bright yellow hats. I mean, he is a marketer's marketer. Kind of reminds me of the early days of Barnum, right?
Yeah.
He kind of has that feel to it.
The new P.T. Barnum.
Yeah. But you know what? It's working, right? So good for him. Daily Whinnie time. Several auditor birthdays this weekend. Andrea Day, Jen Dunn, Christina Jarrell, and Jessica Troop. Hey, Jessica. Also, a brand new auditor named Bethany. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
My daily Whinnie goes to, hi, Serafina. Oh my gosh, I got to go spend some time yesterday at the Royal Vista Equine Reproduction Hospital. It's a repro center in Purcell, Oklahoma. Now, what a repro center is, because I posted some video and I had a lot of questions, it is a place where, say, you've got this really high dollar mare, or you've got a mare that probably can't carry babies to term anymore due to age or injury, or she's like super valuable and turning and burning on the barrels and you can't lose a year to have babies. Any of that stuff, that the reason, and it doesn't work for thoroughbreds, they don't do it for thoroughbreds, but any reason that you would need a surrogate mother for your horse, you would call Royal Vista and you would say, hey, let me just break it down. I have an embryo and I would like it put into a mare, and I would like that baby to grow in another mare. And they would say, okay,
so it's the same
we'll
as a
take care of
surrogate
that.
for humans.
Exactly.
Okay.
But this is on a ginormous scale. And this place is incredible. I've seen a lot of recip facilities where you drive by on the freeway and there's like a little paddock with a shed and a paddock with a shed, like almost like a veal farm or something. This place is unbelievable. There's 2,000 horses at this place, like owned by this facility. And there's only about 1,000 there at a time, because 1,000 of them are already off going to wherever they're going to have their baby. So it's couple thousand acres, different farms. And I went yesterday to get a tour and to show Anna the facility. I've sold a mare, one of my mares that unfortunately had kissing spine and would have been put down. But she has a long, healthy life being out there, that she's got a uterus, so she has a job, and she lives on this farm with, hundreds of her closest friends. If you look, there's hay feeders as far as the eye can see. And did you see the video I posted,
I did,
Glenn?
Yeah. It's impressive.
There's all these horses are eating this, what they told me was like dairy quality alfalfa. So unbelievably good alfalfa hay that these mares
would kill for that.
Oh my God. They eat it on a hillside with 800 of their closest friends. And all they do is they come up, and the ones that are, they basically, they have to get these mares heat cycles to kind of correlate with the donor mares and the embryos. It's a lot of science. But this place takes the best care. The veterinarian told me that they're probably the largest rescuer of horses going to slaughter, mares. And that there is. Most of their mares were going to slaughter, and they buy them from the kill pens or the kill sales, and they bring them there and they give them a home. So many of the horses are not even gentle, and they just do the best job to get them all comfortable. They have impeccable breed. They take such good care of them. These mares are so valuable for their job. They take incredibly good veterinary care. They eat like queens. Anybody that needs specific grain is brought up, and how they do this for thousands of a couple thousand horses.
That's what
incredible.
My question was when I saw them all out of your video. I went, we can't get 3 horses to get along. How are and then how the horses all get running at the same time sometimes. We had that yesterday. They were just tearing around the farm. Can you imagine if that many horses start tearing around the farm?
These are all big pregnant mares. They don't want to run. They just want to walk around and hang out and sleep on the hill and everything with their friends. And they have 3 different farms, satellite facilities that they use. One is like 1,200 acres. The one I was at yesterday was like 600. And they have another one, they call it the West version, and that's several hundred acres. And I mean, when you think of all of the things that they're doing, Dr. Coy he's been on the show before. They're the ones that saved Effie and Pink. Remember when I had the foaling disaster? Yeah. This is the place. So that's how I know about this facility. So
I was wondering why you wanted to go. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. He took us in and showed us this board, and it is like everything is color coded. All these green, all the greens are the horses that are waiting for a recip. You know, and these are the black ones. They're the ones that are gonna
be a logistical nightmare.
Oh my gosh, it's like such big brain stuff. It's incredible. And they just do, you know, as far as breeding, you know, I always say breed the best of the best to get the best. Well, these people are investing a unbelievable amount of money to get their horses.
Yeah, I imagine it ain't cheap to hire them either.
No, it can't be. And then to use a recipient mare and everything, it's definitely big business. But as far as the places I've seen, this one is hands above any other facility I've seen. And I'm just real happy that they saved my mare. And then I was able to send another mare there that would have been euthanized. And now she has this great life living on a hill, eating alfalfa with all of her friends under trees. It's unbelievable.
Could you find her in the 1,000 horses that were out there?
Oh, you know, I did see her on the hill. I was like, hi, Joey. Hi.
She didn't come running over, did she?
She didn't. I'm sure she would have if she could heard me, but it was quite far.
Can we tell the story of you calling? Are we allowed to tell that story?
Well, Serafina is getting my daily Whinnie. Yeah, she was funny because I called to schedule the tour, and she answers the phone. She was like, I said, hi, I'm Jamie Jennings. And she said, what? Oh my God. And she went on to say that it was weird to hear my voice not in her headphones because she listens to the show every day. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Serafina. And you got my daily Whinnie, and the whole staff and facility are just amazing. Dr. Reealli, Dr. Coy, they're the ones I've spent the most time with, and they're just great people. And all the staff there has been incredible. And I mean, even yesterday, like there was one horse that was in there getting her work done, and I was like, oh, bless her. It might have been the ugliest mare I've ever seen. Like, it kind of looked like a mule, and they were taking her in to scan her, and they walk her in, and I was like, oh God, bless her. Like, bless her heart. And the guy that was doing the repro exam turns to me and he goes, at least her uterus is real pretty. So I love the place. It's a fantastic place, and I'm just nice to spend some time with everybody. And I do appreciate them giving us a tour and letting them see like this incredible facility. And when you think of things like that, like there are places that are doing it right, and I'm just real proud to have that one so close.
And can I just say, Serafina is such a pretty name that I don't think we've ever heard before. So I love that name. That's terrific.
I love it.
Well, you know, some other names that are going to be in the news this weekend are the names of the horses in the Louisiana Derby. And Caldera.
That's right, baby.
Caldera, our horse, one that about 50 of us own, is going to be there. And I was just reading, it's $1 million race, by the way, the Louisiana Derby. So if Caldera wins, we might win more than $4 this time. $7? Oh, great.
We might get $7.
So there's a field of 10. Caldera is in the number 5 hole, which I think sounds pretty good, actually. But I read the article on the race and the different horses in the races. This is what they say about Caldera. Caldera could win or could join Virginia Derby winner American Promise and give Hall of Fame trainer D. Wayne Lucas a second Kentucky Derby qualifier. Caldera broke his maiden in his third start at Oaklawn by more than 5 lengths while racing on the lead. He had the lead and was second by a nose in the Sunland Derby and got 10 Derby points. He is a win contender for this race.
I was watching his most recent work, and I was like, he was working. He was just ahead of the other horse that he was working in company with, and he's going and going and going. I'm like, he just doesn't look like he really is like, I got this. Like, I'm running. Like, he just didn't look like, to me, I was watching it on my phone, of course. And I'm like, that doesn't look that impressive. So I called my friend Jack in Lexington, Kentucky, the racehorse guy. And I was like, hi, I have a question. I have a racehorse and his name is Caldera, and he worked at Oaklawn this week and he ran this long and this time. I was like, what is that good? Or is that like average? Because he didn't look like he was trying, right? And he was like, that's a really good time. I was like, what? He said, yeah, it's a really good time. So if Caldera's brain could match his body, we're unbeatable. Unbeatable.
Well, there's another horse by the name of John Hancock in this race that's the favorite. Apparently, John Hancock has done very well. He's undefeated so far. So, but he's only had 2 career starts, but he did pretty well. So he already has earned 20 Derby points, but we're going to see.
Then he doesn't need to win. We need the points.
There's another one in here that I love the name, Chunk of Gold. Also a favorite for this race. But Chunk of Gold is a great name. I love that name. But anyway, yeah, we're going to all be watching that. That's tomorrow. And we're going to see if we're $7 winners. We've
been immersed in horse racing here for a couple of days and just horse movies in general. Anna and I, Chad and Lucas have been on a ski trip and they've been gone. So it's just us girls holding down the fort, battling the wind. But anyway, every night we'd like to cook a really cool dinner and sit down, and we've been watching horse movies while they were gone. Now we've already seen Seabiscuit and Secretariat because Anna has gotten really excited about racehorses. But I was like, this week I'm going to show you like some really, the classics, obviously. So we watched Man from Snowy River and Return to Snowy River. Why would you groan? It's romance. It's cinematography. It's just the greatest love story. And it's a story of hate and classism and kissing on horses. You gather beautiful scenery. What is not to love? I'm sorry. Incredible
writing. A lot of our
writing.
Listeners agree with me. Did you see the comments on the last time you posted?
Well, there's no accounting for taste. What we're going to do is we're going to hopefully in the post show get Anna in here to review these movies. So we watched those 2, and then we watched Snowman, the documentary about Harry Delaire and Snowman, which is fantastic. And then last night we watched 50 to 1.
Oh my God.
Which do you remember 50 to 1?
Yes.
It's the story of Mind That Bird. It's fantastic. Now, it's a great story, and they did
who
show
was in that? There was somebody famous in that, wasn't there?
Calvin Burrell was in it. He's the jockey, right. And he was actually probably the best actor in the entire movie.
I know, he really was. I hope Lisa can get better actors for our movie coming up.
Yeah. The cool thing about 50 to 1 is they do show the Derby footage. And of course, Chad and Lucas get home 2 seconds before the Derby's about to start. And I was like, shh, hi, great. I'm glad you're back. Be right. The Derby's starting. And so they come over and Chad was like, oh my God, I remember this race. It is probably the most unbelievable trip that anybody could take, and a horse that just answered the call for this Kentucky Derby. Again, it's called 50 to 1. We paid for it. It was $3.50 on Amazon.
Don't expect good acting, but it's a fun movie.
Oh, it was. At some point I was like, can we just fast forward?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It's not fantastic. Everybody's very handsome and attractive that is in it, and so it's fine. But like I said, Calvin Burrell, who was the jockey of Mind That Bird in the Kentucky Derby, was by far the best actor in the whole movie.
And he was just playing himself. Speaking of racing, we're going to have our only guest today is well known in the racing circles, and he's on the show today to talk about a new book he did about one of Jamie's favorite horses, Man of War, right after this word from Kentucky Performance Products.
This Nutritional Minute is brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products. One of the most common mistakes seen in feeding programs is the underfeeding of commercial concentrates. Commercial concentrates are textured or pelleted feeds that provide energy, protein, vitamins, and minerals. Some common manufacturers are Triple Crown, Nutrina, Purina. You get the idea. Every commercial feed has a minimum amount you must feed in order to meet a horse's daily vitamin and mineral requirements. For most commercial concentrates, that level is somewhere between 4 to 6 pounds per day. A lot of horses will get too fat consuming feed at that level, so owners and barn managers feed less, and rightly so. It's not healthy for a horse to get too fat. However, if you are feeding less than the recommended minimum amount to your horse, you are not providing your horse with adequate nutrition. Microphase Vitamin and Mineral Supplement from Kentucky Performance Products can solve your problem. Microphase can be added to the diet as needed to fill in the nutritional gaps. Packed with nutrients but low in calories, you can adjust the feeding level of Microphase to meet your horse's requirements. Learn more about Microphase by visiting kppusa.com. Got questions about your feeding program? We can help. Email Karen at questions@kppusa.com or call us at 859-873-2974.
I would love to welcome to the show Mark Shrager. He is a writer and a horse racing historian, and he's written tons of books about racehorses. And I just learned this fun fact that he also is an owner of Caldera.
I've owned about 20 of them altogether, and probably pretty typically 2 or 3 have been stars, have raced really well, and a lot of them have taught me that the other side of racing is important too. You're going to have failures along with your successes.
So you own Caldera. Now, did you also own some of Seize the Gray, right?
Yes.
That's one he actually made money on.
Yeah, one of the few. But yeah, I've had quite a number of them. I also had the one, what was his name, Star 69, who turned out to have wobbler syndrome, which I'd never heard of before. And he's a beautiful horse. I really like him, but there was never a chance he was going to run. And I tried to be part of the group that was trying to keep them from euthanizing him and keep him alive and find him a good place to be and a good place to stay. And I think we succeeded in that. And the things I've seen from him, he seems like a very happy and well taken care of horse. So I feel really good about that.
Well, that's fantastic. You being on the side that you've been on for so long, which is the writer and the kind of behind the scenes guy on the reporting end of it. This has probably given you a whole new appreciation for the horse owner end of it.
It has, definitely has. Horse owners have a lot of fun, and they spend a lot of money and it doesn't always come back to them, but I think they get a lot of reward for their effort.
Well, I mean, I do own a horse named Money Problem and Impossible Luck, so we'll see how that goes.
Well named.
Well, those are some of my racehorse horses. I was hoping you were going to say, oh, I own part of Money Problem, and here's what I like about him, and his futures look really good, and he's going to be super fast, and Improbable Luck is an incredible horse. Do you have any hot tips on those guys? No?
No, right not.
Oh, bummer. I was hoping you were going to be like, that's going to be the next Derby horse, being that you have such a good eye from behind the scenes. So one of my favorite horses in all of history, and I've been to the Kentucky Horse Park every year since I was 9 years old to visit his grave, is the horse Man O' War. And you just wrote a book about Man O' War. Tell us about it.
Well, it's from the time I first started being into horse racing, I've had discussions upon discussions upon discussions with people who have their favorite horse of all time and who they think may be the greatest horse of all time, and their Secretariat and Citation and Man O' War and more recently Flightline and American Pharoah, and there's always a new one, and there are always hundreds and hundreds of great horses of the past that people back. And I've always thought that I'd like to write a book about that. And I'd written 3 books before. This is my 4th. And the people who were the most vocal about so-and-so is the greatest horse that ever lived, the people that are most vocal usually back Man O' War. So I always told myself that if and when I got around to writing this book, I had to start with Man O' War and compare other horses to him and see how he might be the best and how other horses might conceivably have been better. And that's where this book wound up.
And it's interesting because my love affair of Men of War started reading Walter Farley books as a kid growing up. And I just, as much as I love Secretary, and I've got a framed portrait picture of him, winning the Belmont in my office, there's just no one that captured the excitement and love that I had for him. But again, I believe it was through Walter Farley. So you're kind of carrying on that tradition with affecting people with your books. And so, I mean, like, I don't want you to spoiler anything, but obviously he was the best. Is that what you decided?
Well, not obviously. I went into this with an open mind. Honestly, I had usually gone into those discussions as a Secretariat backer. I'm from that age. I saw Secretariat win his Belmont Stakes live, and I always thought he had to be the best horse there ever was, but you couldn't really prove it. There's equine medicine has improved over the years, nutrition's improved, racetrack management's improved, horses run faster times than they used to, and so you can't really prove one horse is better than the next, because the numbers don't really compare to one another. So I decided to look at something else, which is how did the individual horses affect society? How did they affect the sport?
Oh, yeah.
And the ones that were most important in that way, I thought would be the greatest horses. And I made a point of saying that there's such a thing as a good horse and a great horse, and that greatness is not the same thing as goodness or excellence. And so I looked for greatness in terms of how the horse affected his sport, how he affected society, how he moved the sport forward. And let's say without creating a spoiler here, Man of War does very well when you look at him in that context.
And wasn't racing so much bigger back then? He raced like in the 17?
Well, he raced in 1919 and 1920.
I mean, racing was huge back then. They would fill the tracks. So, there wasn't TV and internet, so people had to do something, right? This was an activity because there was less to do.
Well, the three big sports back in those days were horse racing, baseball, and boxing. And football, college football had backers. People followed it. Pro football was like a little blip on the horizon. Basketball was barely there at all. And so horse racing got tons and tons and tons of, what today we'd call media. Back then it was, newspaper coverage. And Man of War was so much faster and so much bigger, and he won his races by so much that, unlike a lot of horses that, they would win a race and they'd get coverage the following day, Man of War just had to stick his head out of the stall and someone would be there to take a picture of him and write an article about him. And
wow.
Even when he lost, the one race he lost, which was the 1919 Sanford Stakes to...
Don't say his name. Don't say Upset's name. I don't want to hear it. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you caught me in time. Well, he lost to this oddly named mystery horse, and his loss was so obviously the result of human error. They had a substitute starter who broke the field badly, and Man of War was last away from the wire. The jockey,
he was like turned around almost.
Well,
sorry.
Some say he was turned around. If you read the official chart of the race, it just says he broke slowly. But he obviously was away very badly. He got a bad ride. He was ridden into a box, and when the jockey finally pulled him to the outside, it was too late. He almost got there. And the next day, the articles by every newspaper back in those days had a dean of racing. They had someone who'd been a racing writer for 35 years. And all of them the next day, they said, this just proves once again how great he is. He's greater after his loss than he ever was after his win.
Wow.
And it was just a belief back in those days, a shared belief that this was the greatest horse anybody had ever seen. And it was like, 8 or 10 years after Colin, who'd been undefeated in 15 starts, and Man of War was considered to be better. So he got far more press coverage than horses in modern times. One example of that is that when Secretariat had to be put down, it was a very, very sad occasion. I remember being almost in tears as a result of it. And you would see a little blurb at the end of the evening news that the Great Horse Secretariat had been put down in Kentucky. Manowar, when he died, they had a funeral for him that was attended by about 1,000 people and was broadcast nationwide. So he was that big. Racing was that big back in those days that, here in California and, wherever else people were, they could listen to Manowar's funeral. And as best I know, and I have studied the issue, there's never been another of the same thing.
Well, you talked about how horses affect kind of the world around them. I mean, just hearing you talk about that, you have to put Seabiscuit up there. If what all I know about him is true, as far as him changing. My grandmother lived on a farm in Ohio and was not a horse person, and she knew who Seabiscuit was.
Mm-hmm. Seabiscuit was an incredible horse, but you can't really mention him in the same breath as Manowar.
Oh, not talent-wise, but as far as affecting the kind of the country and changing kind of just getting everybody aware of who a racehorse was, and that was the time too. Yeah.
People loved Manowar. People loved Manowar, and he was Seabiscuit.
Yeah,
he was like a national hero, and it was a time when they needed heroes. The Depression was dragging on, and he did some amazing things for a little horse whose breeding wasn't the best, and he had started out with a major stable and a great trainer, Sonny James Fitzsimmons, who tried to train him and just couldn't get him to do much of anything, and they finally sold him, and voila, he goes from being a rather ordinary horse to being a very great horse, a really, really good horse. A similar story in more modern times is John Henry, who was nothing for the first 2 years of his life and turned out to be the world's leading money winner. And he won more Grade 1 races than any horse that ever lived. And it was the same thing. He started off as kind of nothing horse and was sold and became a superstar.
Gelded.
And we'll always love those kinds of horses. There are basically two kinds of horses that people kind of fall in love with. One are the Manowars and Seattle Slews, who win from the very beginning and just dominate everybody. And the other is the geldings, the Kelsos and John Henrys and Exterminators that win race after race after race and come back from injuries and beat the best horses of multiple generations. And we love all of them. I think there's fewer of those today than there used to be. And I think it's a shame. But so Seabiscuit and horses of that sort, they become enormously popular.
I was just talking about how I watched I watched the movie 50 to 1 last night, and I was talking about how Calvin Burrell was by far the best actor in the whole movie, but it's still a great story about Mind That Bird and his kind of like perfect trip, perfect run, and the heart that he had just at the exact right moment. And to talk about a gelding that just kind of like came in and swept through it and was awesome.
I'll tell you what I thought was funny about Mind That Bird. Is that if you watch the Kentucky Derby, Burrell rides Mind That Bird along the rail and comes from way behind, and he's 6 lengths in front before the race caller even realizes he's there. And I think what happens is literally the caller can't believe what he's seeing, and then he suddenly realizes, yes, it's really true, and he says, "It's Mind That Bird," and with this note of shock in his voice. And it's kind of one of my favorite moments in racing, because you can just hear his mind working. Like, is it? Is it? It can't be. Oh my God, it is! And all of a sudden he realizes he's there.
In the movie, they show him calling the race, and you see a guy behind him banging on the windows, "Mind that bird! Mind that bird. And they even go through the whole thing of like, when he was like, he had to look down at his program to see who there was. And that's when he said, it's mine, that bird.
I believe that. I definitely believe that. No one expected that horse to do anything, but he's a story.
There's another horse we haven't talked about that caused that kind of buzz, and it was Zenyatta.
Oh.
That caused that kind of buzz that, we talked about endlessly, and that people just, in a time when horse racing wasn't creating that kind of buzz, Zenyatta came
She
along.
made it into pop culture.
Right, yeah.
Oh yeah, she was amazing. And I thought it was especially good that she was a mare. You look at the history of racing, and we talk about male horses, and it's appropriate that the women should have their heroes too, and Zenyatta certainly filled that role, and she was a great racehorse, and really, I don't know exactly how to say this. I think she should have been undefeated. I think had she been just
don't get Jamie started. We've been.
Oh no, really. Had she been just a little closer to the early pace, she would have come from behind and run right by Blame. And,
oh my God, my blood is like in my face right now because I'm still mad at Mike Smith, and I told Glenn if he ever brings Mike Smith on the show, I will quit. Like, it's a surprise. I'm surprised I got Mike Smith. I will quit. Like, that's enough. I am very mad still, Mark, and I appreciate you saying the things you said as gently as you said them. I have not been as gentle on the show, and
she will never forgive Mike Smith for that.
Well, Mike Smith brought Zenyatta, started off 17 lengths behind. That was the farthest she'd ever been behind in a horse race. And she made up all but, what was it, a neck or a nose or a head or something. He got her so close. If it had been 16 and a half lengths instead of 17, I think she would have won the race. And would that have been something, an undefeated career? Back in those days, I was writing a series of articles for American Turf Monthly called The 25 Greatest Horses in American History. And I started with Domino and had gone as far as, I think, Secretariat was the last one I did. Maybe there were some others in there, I don't remember. But I had to change the title of the series to The 26 Greatest Horses in American History, because there's no way I could leave Zenyatta out. And so she became the last member of that series, and I think she might have been the greatest American racehorse. I mean, I'm sorry, the best American racehorse. She certainly fit in there. There'd be others that you'd have to consider. Somehow very few people seem to ever mention Ruffian, but I think she's got to be up there somewhere.
I was going to say Ruffian and Genuine Risk, and just their
Do you know why you
colors?
Can't say Ruffian? Because you can't say Ruffian without having just I'm sorry, as a woman and Ruffian, you just can't have like her name said without getting just punched in the gut. I mean, just so tough. But you know what? I'm an avid equestrian. I have a horse farm, and I love my horses. And I specialize in retraining off the track thoroughbreds. So when they're done with their career, they come to me, and I restart them, and we facilitate getting them adopted. And even through all of these, and all the ones that I own personally, horses just have an amazing way to, number one, fill your heart, but also break your heart. And if all the heartbreaks that I had with horses stopped me from being with horses, my heart wouldn't be full at the same time. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's, they become part of your life. They become part of who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, I could talk to you for another 2 days about horse racing. I love geeking out on it. Now, but before I let you go, I did hear. Oh, by the way, hold on. Let me just go over all of this with you. Mark Shrager, the author of The Greatest Racehorse, Man of War, and The Judgment of History, the first Kentucky Derby, which has the best subtitle ever, 13 black jockeys, one shady owner, and the little red horse that wasn't supposed to win.
I'm going to get that one. I want to listen to that one. That looks like so much fun.
Diane Crump, A Horse Racing Pioneer's Life in the Saddle. She was absolutely amazing. And I love that you wrote a book about her. The Great Sweepstakes of 1877. Just so much great historical fiction about all the, I guess not historical fiction, like just historical books about horse racing, and bringing this kind of like, to me, is a great reminder of all the history that we have and how horse racing has been with the nation since the beginning of time, the beginning of our country. And so everybody go check these books out. Where can they find them all?
Well, they can find them on Amazon. They can go to my website, actually. They can order books off my website, markbshrager.com. If I can spell it out, MarkBshrager.com. I have a brand new website, actually, that you can order the books on. Let me tell you one thing. Because the Diane Crump book was like one of the highlights of my life. Diane's a fantastic person. And she and I are going to be at the Keeneland Library in May presenting that book. We didn't get to present it when it first came out because it came out as COVID was hitting. And so they were closing bookstores and closing libraries, and they closed down the publicity department of the publisher. So the librarian at Keeneland wanted to come back, and even though it's almost 5 years later, they wanted to present that book. So we're doing that this coming May. And just a funny coincidence about May, Diane and I, when I first talked to her about writing her story, she said she thought that would be a good idea. And I asked her, do you have any kind of biographical materials that I could see? And she said, yeah, I'll send you some. So she sent me some things. And the first thing she sent me started out, Diane Crump was born May 18th, 1948 in someplace in Connecticut. And I called her up and said, May 18th, 1948 is the day I was born. You know, you talk about coincidence of coincidences. And without missing a beat, Diane said, then you're the one that has to write my book.
Oh, wow. That's great.
That's great.
So we did. My wife and I lived with Diane for 4 days and met her family and met a lot of her friends who think that Diane is the most fantastic horsewoman that ever lived, which she may well be. And so anyway, she's an incredible person. And, you know, having ridden in the Kentucky Derby when she was 20, you know, you wonder, what do you do after that? Well, she's lived a full life after that. She's trained horses. She's ridden hundreds of horses. She's bought and sold horses. She has a group of dachshunds. She owns a pack of dachshunds, and they go to hospitals and nursing homes, and she talks to the people there, and that's her life now. She talks to them and she helps them, and whatever she can do for them, she does. She's just a fabulous person. She's like one of the best people I know. So I was really happy to have written that book.
I wanted to mention, too, Jamie, that she was on Retired Racehorse Radio episode 75, one of the shows on our network, talking about this book, and it was back in 2022. So if you want to go back and take a listen to that.
Who was the co-host on that one?
It was Kristen and Joy did that one.
Oh, dang it. I missed that one.
Yeah, so she did that. That's episode 75 if you want to check that out.
Ah, man, I'm sorry. I missed that one. I was the co-host of that show for the first 100 episodes, but I guess I missed that one. That sucks. That's really bad luck. Well, listen, so you guys are going to be at the Keeneland Library. I'm going to be in Keeneland at the end of April on closing day. I guess we're going to miss you then, but you'll be there in May. And I guess, does that coincide with the Derby?
It probably coincides more closely with the Preakness, but again, what they had intended to do was do the book in 2020, which was the 50th anniversary of her Derby ride. Well, they couldn't do that, so this is the 55th anniversary of her Derby ride. It's going to be a couple weeks after the fact, but that's what it's about.
And I wanted to mention, too, before we let you go, that the Greatest Racehorse is available for pre-orders now. It's coming out in June, right?
That's correct.
Okay, great. Well, Mark,
again,
thanks
all
for
the
joining
books
us.
available on Amazon. Mark, thank you so much. Now, next time I have you on, I want to talk to you about the fact that I just read something. Were you on Jeopardy?
Oh, yes, I was way back when. I was
What?
I was a 3-time champion back in the shows were taped in 1999. They were taped in one year, and they ran the following year because they got interrupted by the Tournament of Champions. But I won 3 of them.
Did they
Oh
ask
my
you any
gosh.
horse racing questions at all?
Right. Oh my God.
No. No,
Oh.
I had wished they had. They used to have a category called Sport of Kings, and I kept hoping that would come up. And darn, no such luck. It comes up about once a decade, so it wasn't very likely.
Is it? Why do you attribute to winning 3? What do you attribute to winning 3 times? Were you a huge reader? Is that where?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm an only child, and whenever my parents would get upset with me, they'd say, "Go to your room and read a book." So I would do that, and
Read a lot.
Apparently, they were upset with him a lot. Yeah.
yeah. And I don't know. I just have that kind of a brain, I guess. It's just retentive as anything, and they asked a lot of questions I knew the answers to. Actually, one of the games, Alex Trebek came over afterwards and said, "Do you guys realize that you got every single question right? This is probably the best Jeopardy game I've ever seen."
Oh, wow.
So that felt pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Alex Trebek giving you a pat on the back, man. That doesn't get better.
That's fantastic.
It was fun. A lot of good memories. They had bleachers back then facing the stage, and my mother was in the top row of the bleachers. She was sitting next to my wife, and I got the Final Jeopardy question correct in the first game. And my mother threw her arms in the air and almost toppled straight backwards out of the bleachers. And my wife grabbed her across the front and pulled her back in again. Or my Jeopardy championship might have led to a fatality.
Oh my God, Mom! Could you please sit on the bottom first bleacher? Thank you.
Calm down, Mom. It's your fault. I won.
That's right.
Okay, before we let you go, I know we've taken up so much of your time. Do you remember one of your Final Jeopardy questions? I want you to quiz Glenn and I.
I won't know it.
Oh, okay. Yes, I do. The topic was calendars, and I missed this one actually. So, Glenn, if you get it, you're a better player than I am.
Okay.
This was the first of the ancient calendars that was actually 365 days.
Bling! What is the Mayan calendar?
That's what I said. No, it was the Egyptian.
I was going to say Roman, but
well, at least I'm in good company. I said what you said.
That's funny.
We both got it wrong.
We lose together. Well, all right. Thanks, you, Mark Shrager. You can check out all his books, and then one coming out soon, The Greatest Racehorse, Man of War, and The Judgment of History. Thanks, Mark. Talk to you again soon, hopefully.
Thank you very much. I look forward to it.
All right. Bye-bye, Mark. Well, I thought that she had been on one of the shows, and that's why I looked it up, because
I was like,
I
hosted the first 100 episodes of that, and in my head, I don't remember having her on. But again, stuff like that doesn't always stick. Like sometimes I feel like would have remembered that. That's why I was like, who hosted that?
Yeah, you would have remembered that for sure. That would have been a highlight. Well, he was fantastic. He was great. Thanks, Mark, for joining us. We really appreciate it. And as I said,
it's like when we had Steve Haskin on, I'm like, I could talk to you for 2 days, like just about all of it. And I'm so glad you brought up Zenyatta, and then we talked. Great, just fantastic. Like that's the kind of interview that makes me happy, even though I'm not sure he knew what to do with me.
At first he didn't, but I think he caught on though. He figured it out. He flowed then with it and was like, okay, I'm going to play along.
Like, I feel like the man should be the one to talk. No. Okay. She's coming around. I'm getting him. It takes me a minute to warm people up to, because I am a lot at times. And this is not NPR.
Well, I think it took him a minute to figure that out too. Well, yeah, I loved having him on. I could have talked to him for a half an hour on Jeopardy and how that works. How that happens. That would have been fun too, but we ran out of time. And you know what? We are out of time. We have to do these commercials and then come back with some really bad ads.
For first-time horse owners and new riders, finding the information and support you need can be challenging. That's why Equine Network has partnered with Sentinel and Absorbine to bring you My New Horse. From important horsekeeping information and how-to videos to social media communities, exclusive experiences, and more, My New Horse is your one-stop shop for riders of all levels and disciplines looking for easy-to-understand horse care information and guidance. Start your horse ownership journey today. Visit mynewhorse.com.
Want to reach a passionate, engaged audience of horse lovers? The Horse Radio Network, with thousands of listeners worldwide, offers unique sponsorship opportunities to connect your brand with horse owners, riders, and enthusiasts. Over 90% of our listeners have bought a product from a HRN ad in the past year. Partner with HRN and take your brand to the next level. Visit www.horseradionetwork.com/advertise today.
He says one thing and he means another, but hey, he can't help it. He's a horse trader. Horse trading. Well, it's a laissez-faire. Let the buyer beware. Horse trading. They tell a low-down lie with a sincere stare. Horse trading. Well, if they're talking in circles and the deal ain't square, he's a master in the fine art of persuading. Horse trading.
That's right. It's that time of the week when we do some really bad ads. Everybody's favorite thing every week. And we have a little bit of fun with it. Listeners submit ads from Craigslist or Facebook, and we just have some fun. And we give away prizes too. Well, I guess we'll be giving away these next week. But we have two prizes this week or this month, and we have Kelly Hurd horseshoe necklace worth $99. You guys have heard us talk about Kelly Hurd before. It's quality stuff. This is sterling silver and has some zirconia stones in it. They're made in the United States. So that is one of the items we'll give away. And also a book I have sitting here, Horses, Humans, and the Love by Tim Hayes. So this explores how the social behaviors of horses, particularly herd dynamics, offer valuable insights into improving human relationships. Jamie, you know a little bit about that. So, yeah, so that book will be sent out to one of the winners as well. We don't have time to get to them all. Andrew and Janelle, they submitted. You're in for the prizes, but we just don't have time for all of them. And we do have 3 today, you'll be happy to know, Jamie, who read their own. And of course, they get double entries for that.
They get double entries for reading and triple entries if they do an accent other than their own. So let's hear what they got.
Does Lorene count because she comes with an accent?
That's her accent. Okay. That's she is why I designed that rule.
Here we go. This is from Jenny.
Hi, this is Jenny, and I have a really bad ad from Indiana. The title is Hacky Pony Cross.
Hacky?
$8,700.
Whoa.
The description reads, 5 hockey pony cross mare broke to drive. For more info, call.
That's it?
And the picture is a black horse tied to a post, and the halter is shredded over the nose. That's it.
Okay.
Bye.
If you're going to sell a horse for $9,000, you would think you would know how to spell the breed.
Spell the breed, put a presentable picture up.
And more description.
Yeah.
I want a little more description if I'm going to cough up $9,000.
It's one of those where you're like, please give me the number so I can call and just see if anybody has called you.
About the hacky horse. Diana sent this one in. 11-year-old mini mare or POS. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I was told this gal was kid safe to ride and drive. We happen to like our kids, and we also happen to quite enjoy our friends' kids as well. Her ground manners are good when you have her caught. She'll pick up her front feet. She'll kick the flank out of you picking up her back feet, but that's okay because she'll give you a clear look at them if you walk up to her too quickly.
Oh my God.
Sometimes she'll buck right away. Sometimes it's 10 minutes later, but she's guaranteed to give you a ride every time. No, you can't test your riding skills here. I try to be one of those insurance policy holders that never have to give them a call. And she's guaranteed to piss you off. So if you've subscribed to BetterHelp using the code from your YouTuber, this little mare ain't for you. $1,000 cash, no holds. How about just give the little sucker away? It looks like a mini.
Well, it's a mini.
Yeah, it's a mini, but hey, look. Oh, do you see that face? Don't come near me or I'll kick the crap out of you face.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a mini. Like, there's no reason that your children should be riding this tiny mini who's as wide as it is tall. I love the line, though. I've never heard this. If you've subscribed to BetterHelp using the code from your favorite YouTuber, this mare ain't for you.
And every YouTuber does advertise BetterHelp, it seems like.
Yeah, we need to get it on this show so I can start getting free therapy. That was sent by Diane, Katie, and Amanda. Good job, you guys. All right, Katie sent the next one in, a different Katie. Okay, is there a picture? Yes, there is a picture associated with it. I told you to knock on the door before you come in. Good Lord, he just likes to give me a heart attack. It's doors coming into my office. It's like so loud. Scares the crap out of me. Sorry. Anyway, where were we? Katie, send this one in. And it says, and this is like some Facebook page, but as Jennifer does, she cut the name of the Facebook group out so I wouldn't be able to promote it. Let's swap with an emoji of like swapping. We'll trade 2 for 1 open, 2 horses only. Bay. 6/7-month-old grade filly. She'll be a crossbred type. Dam was a draft cross and sire is unknown. She's semi-halter broke and wants to be your friend. This filly will grow up to be something.
They're all something.
Yeah, she is something. They do have another one for sale too. Now,
no, they're trading. They're giving you 2 for your 1.
Oh, wow. That's nice. Because what's funny is she'll be a crossbred type. What the hell does that mean? She's not a breed.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one that they're trading is Sorrel. Grade long yearling filly. Don't have anything good to say about her.
They're honest.
She's not halter broke and is not gentle. Needs to go to someone that has some extra screws they can give her because she's missing some.
Okay, that's a good saying. I never heard that one before.
Both fillies are 100% sound. Yeah, that's
physically
they're like babies and they've never been touched.
They're physically sound,
God.
mentally not so. They need better help. Actually, we have a theme today too. So oh wow, there's cute. Actually, the top one's kind of cute, but it looks like it's just planted and never going to move again.
The second one looks like a wild Mustang.
Yes,
the one with the screws missing.
Yeah,
not
they
the Mustangs
trapped
have
it in the barn
missing.
and it can't get out.
It can't get out. It gets stuck. The other one, the one that you said is cute. They've got a like a rope halter on it, and it looks like it is in mid setting back, like pulling back. Like I don't leave me.
I'm not moving.
I'm not going.
Oh, that was a great one. That was a good one. Who sent that in? Katie, thank you for that. Lila sent this one in. Okay, this is different. It's our trailer of the week, but it's a little different. It's ISO bumper pool pipe trailer. Your crap is my treasure. Redid this old trailer a few years back, and it's been so hardy, useful, and I've gotten so much bang for my buck. I'm looking to do a second one, so I have a bumper pull option that I can haul with a camper. And by the way, he posts a picture of a really crappy bad ad looking trailer, and he's completely fixed it up so it looks nice again. So I give him credit for that. He said he's looking for a stock trailer, pipe, solid steel carcass, prefer open top. God, we need to get his number because we have one of these every week. We could get a commission for helping him find them. On the taller side, please. It needs to be roadworthy enough that we can finagle a way to get her down to our place to work on her. Flatbeds possibility for the right trailer. Needs some welding done. Cool. Crumbling from rust everywhere with a flick of a wrist. I got to tell you, we have a lot of these trailers for you, son. Electrical. Floorboards are solid as my will with a credit card, an empty trailer at an auction. Some of his sentences don't make any sense.
It says electrical shot. I think you're having a hard time reading these bad ads today. Floorboards as solid as my will with a credit card and an empty trailer at the auction. Oh, floorboards. Like he's asking if the floorboards are as solid as my will with a credit card and an empty trailer at an auction.
Oh, that was way too deep for me.
He really is not writing them well. You're right.
Budget is between please get this crap off my property to depends on how much work I will need to put into it. I got cash. But if I make a trip to your place and you ask for me for $4,500 or something for a 2 bent axles half buried in the mud and looks like it's been living through a zombie apocalypse, no guarantees I won't just step on your big toe depending on my mood. I got to tell you, this guy's seen all the ads we've seen. He's seen them all. But this guy actually wants to buy them.
If he would have a collection of them in his yard.
We always say, who would buy this stuff? This guy.
This is the guy. We need his number. Yeah. Who sent that ad in? Let's see. That came from Lila. Lila, we need to just help that guy out.
Yeah, we have all the ads for him.
Christy sent the next one in, and this is on the Facebook page, Michigan and surrounding, and I can't see the rest. 400 takes her. I'm cutting my losses. She annoys the crap out of me.
We got a bunch of honest ads today.
There's always a theme. Just ignorant. Super sweet in the pasture, but terrible ground and barn manners. Named Lucy. 20 years old. 14 hands. Blind in one eye. Only broke when there's other horses to follow. No traders, flippers, or meat buyers. I care about her a little. I love it when I make Chad laugh reading these. Zanesville, Ohio, looking for a quick sale, so don't reach out if you can't come and get her for weeks.
God, there's a theme today. Let's see if we continue the theme with this.
I mean, I care about her a little. Like, yeah. I mean, I don't want her to like be dog food, but whatever. It's fine.
But she does annoy the crap out of me. All right, Rebecca sent this one in. It's a 2020 quarter horse colt, $1,550. That's a odd number. After much thought, I've decided to offer Pistol for sale. Pistol is a 2020 model quarter horse colt. I took him in last summer as a barrel project. He is said to be registered, but I never received any paperwork and haven't really investigated it. That's because there never was any paperwork. He lunges well to the left, but to the right, he still pins his ears and he spins a bit, but he's getting better and faster. We'll load in a stock trailer, but won't do ramps yet. Picks up his front feet fine, but he is still a little hesitant with his back feet. He probably is not hesitant to kick at you with his back feet, though. He does have a negative Coggins, but I've misplaced it.
Oh, good.
I haven't taped him, but I guess him to be around 14-1. That's pretty exact for never having taped, right? For any questions, please PM me. So what do you think the story with this one is?
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Do you know why?
Why?
Read the title of the ad again.
2020 quarter horse colt, $1,550.
Geld that itch. What are you doing? You've got this potential horse who is said to be registered, but you don't have any papers. You don't even have a freaking Coggins. You can't touch his back feet. It spins and kicks at you when you lunge it. Geld it. What are you doing?
This screamed dealer to me, this one. Just screamed dealer.
And the next ad comes from Laurie, and she sent it in herself.
Hi, Jamie and Glenn. This is Lori in Michigan with a really bad ad from Affordable Equines in Michigan. Homey Project. 7 to 10-year-old grade gelding has been used to move cattle and on trail rides. Was moving off of leg prior to sitting. Loads into trailer crate. Bad for farrier at times. Being listed as very, very green. Haven't ridden him in about a year now. Needs someone firm but not aggressive. He's honest, will buck, spooky on the ground, but better in the saddle. Can be iffy to catch sometimes. No tire kickers. Do not message me for videos. I do not have current ones and will not be getting them as I'm pregnant and not going to be riding this horse after that much time off right now. I also will not allow anyone to test ride him before either since he sat for so long. That's $2,500 or best. Open to offers for the right fit. Only rehoming because I have too many and want to focus on my mare right now. So I get to shell out $2,500 for a horse that I can't see videos and can't test ride. So that's it. Have a good day. Bye.
Can I just remind everybody that I paid like half that for Carl?
And you didn't test ride him, right? Or did you?
I did not. I did not test him. Actually, I sent Ginger to go and Anna to go get him.
That's right.
And they got there and they went to pick him up and he goes, "Don't y'all want to ride him?" And they were like, "No, she's fine. She put him in the trailer. It's fine. It'll be fine." So let's see. This next one comes from Kelly. Now I am sitting here reading all of these, and I do the whole concept of Carl being, so great, Craigslist Carl, is that my husband is hearing how bad these ads can really be because he's never listens to the show, but he's in here with me, so he's hearing my half of the ads, and I'm like, just know how awesome I am at this, okay? Like, I'm good.
Well, it's because she's read so many of these ads.
I know. It's like, oh, wait, that one might have something good because I can read between the lines on the rest of them. Okay. See, starting out with this one from Kelly. Just the title alone. Anyone for a project? No. Okay. Do you have a good sense of humor? Are you looking for a horse that will share his sense of humor with you? Do you enjoy having early mornings and lack a cockerel to wake you up and love the sound of drums? What? Luckily, he's also happy camping. Do you want to live a life of unpredictable madness? Would you be amused at the occasional field escape? And do you enjoy lawn maintenance, especially on other people's lawns? Do you seek perfection under saddle in terms of looks, movement, and attitude, so long as this is in 45-second intervals? Before you have to change what you're doing in order to keep his attention and prevent him from creating his own schooling plan? If groundwork was an Olympic sport, he would be a gold medal winner. He also likes football. What? Possibly the cleverest horse I've ever met. Diego is a special creature who needs a like-minded new owner. He loves hunting, moves well, jumps anything with or without a rider, and is 100% on the ground. Schooling at 1 meter, bred to event, jump beginner novice on a ticket, enjoys hacking in company, and if he decides he wants to go on his own on the day in question, sometimes it's a yes. He can be opinionated under saddle, therefore only competent people with an interest in keeping up his groundwork and football practice should get in touch. He's dramatic, but not nasty. He has never scared me, just irritated me to the point of writing this ad. This is an honestly written advert. If you want to work with his brain to get the best out of him, he's the horse for you. I was reading this whole ad and I was like, this sounds like Zeus.
You sure he's not for sale?
Zeus. I know. Kelly, could you message me? Make sure that's not the people in Colorado. Thank you. Because he's not supposed to be sold.
Because the theme today is my horse is pissing me off and he's got to go.
They got to go. That's enough. I've had enough.
Yeah.
The theme of today is I've had enough.
Yeah. Lorene sent this one in.
Good morning. It's Lorene Barden, and I'm going to read a really bad ad. And I lost my ad. This is a Craigslist ad for a Palomino paint gelding, $4,000 in Grand Forks. And then there's a picture of a pretty little Palomino. Chief is a broke Palomino gelding.
I got to stop here a second. Is she on a racetrack? It sounds like she's on a racetrack.
Is in her truck on the freeway with all the windows down. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And she's got a bad tire.
Did you hear the music from the other car?
Because she's got her windows down on the freeway.
I can't listen to her. I'm too busy listening to the background.
Okay, well, she's read a really bad Craigslist ad.
All right, let's start over. I'm starting over. Let's just back up. There we go.
Broke Palomino gelding, ... 9 years old, ... about 14 hands, ... grade ... has been sitting for a year or two ... will need a refresher ... He is such a pretty horse in the summer when he is shed off ... I guess he's ugly before he sheds off. I don't know. He doesn't like 2-horse-trailers, ... He will get in after a lot of trying, ... Bigger trailer and he's happy, ... Does that mean?
If you can haul it, you can have it?
Yeah, if you can haul it, you can have it. If you have a trailer he likes, he's all yours for $4,000. Thanks for listening. Bye.
What a deal. Okay, so I think her daughter was driving.
Yes,
thank God.
I often wonder if she's driving when she's doing these ads.
I love it. It makes me happy. It's like, it just makes me realize like life is keeping on keeping. You know what I mean? Like some things just happen and they're supposed to happen.
The theme today definitely was the theme, and some of these ads just made my head hurt today. just made my head hurt. I don't know. If you want to send ads in, send them to Jennifer@horseradionetwork.com. Get your ads in if you want to be included for this month's prizes, because we will be giving them away next Friday. Hang on, auditors. We'll do a post show. Anna's going to join me, and I'm going to find out which one of these movies she actually liked and didn't like that Jamie's been forcing her to watch. So we'll and they're all horse movies we're going to talk about, right?
Yes, all horse movies.
All right. So we'll do that in the post show. Otherwise, you guys all have a great weekend. I hope the weather's improving for everybody. Let's hope for nice weather and not traumatic weather. And have a great weekend with your horses. We'll see you.
Spade Neuter Geld.